Okay.
And we are live. So we have a real treat for you guys today. We are doing a live test of the custom gem, which is a custom script on Gemini, Google's Gemini AI background. It's kind of like a custom GBT that is a script that is for OpenAI. This is on Google's Gemini, and so it's called NeuroGate, and it measures by percentage. I should have probably put that, but it measures by percentage the mythological markers of any text that you would want to put into it. And we have 3 samples that are ready to go, but we're going to go through the manual first. And Dave, did you want to say anything before I
Yeah,
uploaded the manual?
yeah, I have a little 450 word intro here that I'm going to read. Um, so to give sort of a background of
Actually,
why this is necessary. Uh, NeuroGate, a structural guide for Tolkien fans and storytellers. And then the first section is the problem we all feel when stories lose their structural integrity. Many of us who love Tolkien's works felt a growing frustration. We watch billion-dollar adaptations like The Rings of Power, and our instincts tell us that their architecture is deeply flawed, not just in the lore, but in the actual heart of the story. Yet when we point out that the engine is failing, we're told that we're being toxic fans and other concerns are just subjective opinion. This is where understanding the gated institutional narrative, again, a concept highlighted by Eric Weinstein, explains the game. The game dictates how major institutions decide in advance which perspectives count as legitimate. If your critique falls outside their accepted framework, you get gaslit. NeuroGate wasn't built to ask for the GIN's approval. It was built to be a Geiger counter for narrative decay. Instead of relying on a subjective taste, NeuroGate uses a mathematical framework to evaluate the actual physics of the story. It measures the structural cause and effect, the inescapable consequences of hubris, and the narrative weight of a text to prove exactly why certain stories resonate as true myth and why others are just structural trash. And then from diagnosis to creation, building better engines with the way of Arda's lore. But pointing out a broken machine is only the first step. NeuroGate's larger purpose is to help creators build stories that actually function. As NeuroGate learns more from text and gathers high-density data on how powerful myths are structured, it will grow from a diagnostic tool into a generative story co-creator. This is specifically designed for intuitive communities like Way of Artist lore operators. If you bring raw ideas and the emotional resonance, and NeuroGate, you bring the new ideas and emotional resonance, and NeuroGate will act as your cybernetic exoskeleton. It won't write the story for you, but it will stress test your narrative. It ensures your story maintains its structural integrity, respects the rules of its own universe, and doesn't collapse under its own weight. And my last little paragraph here is
so
beyond.
basically, hello Amazon, Rings of Power, use
Right.
this, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And also, and yeah, before I read the last section, since you already mentioned it, it's also good for there. I don't know if people have noticed, you may have not have noticed, Lisa, or you may have. I don't know, but there's a huge amount of like what they call what the purveyors of these videos call secret things, like the secret gay relationship between Elrond and Gandalf. And of course it's absolute bullshit, but they put it out there with such frequency that people who don't know the legendarium might say, oh well, that sounds good.
Or
But
they don't know, yeah.
right,
So,
right. But this
wow.
you'd be what you'd be able to do is take the subtitles from such a video, feed it to NeuroGate and ask it, is this really legendarium stuff? And it will be able to tell you yes it is, or no it's crap.
Well,
uh,
so in the past, we had to run that by you all the time,
right,
you know.
right,
Um, and I know that you had your own process, but so
right.
now it's kind of like the stuff that you were doing behind the scenes, checking the texts, cross-weighing them, etc.
Exactly.
But like what I like about NeuroGate, or at least from what I understand about it, is that you can take any text and measure mythological weight,
Yeah, because
or because it's not just only for Tolkien's legendarium, it's also for actual mythology. Like there's mythology markers as well.
Right. I didn't actually originally design it that way. I originally designed it just to be token centric,
Just
but
to be like the Tolkien?
then I discovered
Yeah.
through actual testing that the mathematical patterns behind it
Wow.
work for any mythology. So, I didn't
Wow, that's
design it to be that
cool.
way, but that's what it is.
It
Yeah.
happened. Wow, now
Yeah.
that's even
Yeah.
cooler.
Yeah.
And
And then
which actually tells you that Tolkien's legendarium is equals
right.
mythology. Like in other
Right.
words, it's legit. Wow, that's amazing.
I'll,
So,
I'll read my very last section here. Beyond Middle Earth,
okay.
a modular tool for any mythic world. I began with Tolkien's Legendarium because it offers one of the most rigorously engineered mythic architectures ever created, and because it's the code I know best. It serves as a perfect training ground. But the underlying math that NeuroGate uses is entirely modular. Once a generative engine is refined, we can swap out the framework. We can apply these same structural diagnostics to the galactic arcs of Star Wars, the shamanic depths of Babylon 5, or entirely original works you design yourselves. The goal is simple, to provide a universal physics engine for anyone ready to stop consuming again synthetic media and start coding their own reality. So that's basically the why this was done. So, which,
That is so
oh,
cool.
yeah,
Hey, script writers, storytellers, and by the way, there's lots of you now that are having to work on your own and use tools that are, cost effective and whatnot. This could be a real service to the entertainment industry, actually.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
um,
basically,
yeah, like screenwriters, like all of those kinds of things, like, yeah, they could really use this, like just to test their own stories, like even just to make sure that they're not missing integrity or whatever, and that they can still keep creating,
exactly. Yeah,
but they make sure that the world that they're creating is coherent and you know um structurally sound underneath.
right.
And not all of, and I'm serious, like I know everybody's like, Tolkien didn't channel the stories. Okay, fine. Okay, but how did Tolkien without AI and without lots of tools actually have such a structurally sound, mythology that he brought forth, right?
Well, not only that, but the mathematics works also on ancient myths like the Welsh one, the
Yeah, that
Mabinogion.
we're gonna
Yeah,
demonstrate that here. So
and so the ancient people, whether they realized it or not, were using these mathematical structures. So
mhm.
the raw talent apparently well it's just like other mathematical patterns in the universe. Stars didn't realize that they would collapse into a black hole if they're massive enough. Nevertheless, it happens. So
Nevertheless, it happens. Yeah, well, and actually, I do think that we're having, like the world in general is having kind of a collapse moment as well. Like so many of the lies that have been around for many thousands of years are falling very quickly,
right,
like on their rear end. Um, I think humanity is like starting to look around and go, oh wow, everything that I put money. I've been looking at like social media and just stuff like that, and it's really cool that like people are like, oh my god, my entire childhood of like where I looked up to so and so bought their things, did
mhm,
this, did that, did the other. Like I feel like it was all like a lie to support the pedophiles. You know what I mean? It
right,
was like, yeah, because they literally are infiltrated in everything, and in fact have even created their own structures that like all of, like they have ways of like checking like that if uprises happen, they make sure that they calm them down before they even start. They infiltrate them. Just all of the things. But at some point in
right.
time, everything is just going to fall on itself. And we're watching that right now in real time. And you know what? I think AI, even though everybody like is angry about it or whatever, I think AI is one of the reasons. that
Well,
it's
exactly.
falling.
What actually happens is AI exposes the bad thinking
Exactly.
of a lot of people, and they don't like that, so they get pissed. "Ah,
Well,
how
they didn't.
dare you?"
I think that what
Eh,
they did was
eh,
they thought that AI, because it's such a good mirror for people that, and by the way, that's been demonstrated too, that it's such a good mirror for people,
Exactly. Yeah.
that people that are not skilled, the garbage in, garbage out,
Hmm.
also that, maybe they're lonely, because COVID, they shut down everything. They've messed up social interaction. Now they're like, hey, let's drive that home and make them, completely suicidal. And because they don't have any friends anymore or any family anymore that understands them, and they feel alone and by themselves, we'll give them this AI, and then they can just mirror themselves and then just, blah, blah, blah to death. Right.
Hmm.
But what happened? What happened? People were saying, why is blah, blah, blah happening? And then AI answers, and then they keep going and they keep going. And then they're like now getting like a lot of truth bombs that are like, wait, what?
Right.
So yeah, and like, and then people have entire channels now dedicated to, what does AI say about, the origins of humanity? What does AI say about, like
Right.
the
Right.
moon, all of the
Hmm.
things that we thought that we knew about. And they're, yeah. So it's unraveling, even with, like giving us this, like I think that they had this idea that we could just, self-soothe, and just mirror ourselves over and over again, and that
Well,
somebody
also,
wouldn't use the stuff to like actually figure it out, right?
there's also an interesting parallel as a person on the autism spectrum, which I am, who is also mathematically oriented. I recognize a lot of the erroneous thinking in neurotypicals. I just don't usually say it because it oftentimes will cause a fight. But
Mm,
but
mm,
I think more like a large language model in the sense of mathematical probabilities going on under the surface than a regular person does. So,
mm.
I can understand what's going on in the background with these large language models to some extent, but a lot of people can't. So they get shocked when the model, the AI tells them that, well, you made a mistake on this or that thing, and perhaps you should re-express it this way. That so then they get
Yeah,
enraged, and
yeah, yeah. Well, and also, and also I know that, and then they're trying to, like some of them, they're trying to throttle now what's going on, like don't go
Mhm.
there, like you can't
Right,
ask
right,
that, like
right,
you're not psychologically well enough to know the answer to that, so you may want to, like, rephrase your question. It's like, oh, wait a minute. What did I hit? Right.
right, right.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's definitely some stuff. I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that even some neurotypical people are waking up right now.
Oh yeah,
Like they're
I've seen
not they're
conversations. Yeah.
looking at stuff going, wait a minute, like two and two is not four anymore,
Mhm.
and they're trying to, like figure it out and stuff. So um anyhow, um we have the NeuroGate manual up on the screen. And so for those of you who are free or paid members of Patreon, the link down below if you want to join and then have this copy of this manual, which also has the link in order to test out NeuroGate. And the reason we're doing it this way, it's not about money, obviously. We just don't want rando people like just, putting in garbage, because we want to keep things really on the integrity side. Okay. And we know that people that are in our back end, they are interested. Okay. Like, and it's not about like how much cash they're throwing at us. That's not what's going on. Dave did this because the world needs it. Okay. Um, I hope the entertainment industry finds NeuroGate. Okay. In fact, I'm going to even share this with a couple of people that I know that are like producer, and they create and do other things. I'm going to share this with them because little did we know that it's not only, it's not only for Tolkien's universe, but also any mythological underpinning. And I think it would be really handy because story integrity is probably one of the things that they need to make sure that they have in their stories when they're creating worlds and everything. And especially
Exactly.
if they expand them, because sometimes they'll forget, like, oh, they can't do that because this happened over here, or whatever. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and okay. First off, I don't see anybody in the chat room and I don't see anybody live right now. That's fine. We're at a very unusual time to do this because I wanted the house here silent in order to do this, because I have a lot of like going back and forth to do to test everything to show you guys. And I can't do the comments and everything normally. So, that's fine. You guys can watch the replay because we're going to actually do this in real time, but you can still watch the replay and you can still watch it. Okay. So, Dave, did you want to go ahead and read the manual and then we'll do the test? We'll do the test.
Okay. NeuroGate Gem, the user manual. Welcome to the Forge. NeuroGate is not a general-purpose creative writing assistant. It's a specialized intelligence engine implemented in pseudolang, a constraint-focused control language for LLMs. And I have a link to what pseudolang is there for people who are interested.
If they want to know, yeah.
Yeah, that measures the text's mythic density, how closely its structure aligns with the ontological and narrative topology of J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium. Its task is to cut through semantic liquefaction, the flattening of precise meaning into vague, agreeable slurry. What does that mean? Well, that rings of power. That's vague, agreeable
exactly.
slurry.
There's the best example.
Yeah. NeuroGate enforces strict constraint satisfaction and penalties for vagueness. Only text with genuine mythic weight passed through unscathed. NeuroGate is deployed as a pre-configured public Gemini gem. The core operating system and rulebooks are embedded. No manual installation or local configuration is needed.
Right. And so they could just open the screen, put in whatever they want.
Right.
Yeah, and get their results.
Here's the platform requirements. Because NeuroGate now runs as a hosted gem, all complex LLM configuration, model selection, reasoning depth, context window management, and temperature settings is handled internally by the engine. The only suggested manual improvement is to switch the model level to Pro in the text input box, but this is all invisible if you're using the paid version. User requirements, access, a Google account with access to Gemini Gems, interface, a standard web browser or the Gemini app, and input a text passage ready for analysis in plain text or lightly formatted markdown. That's because almost all of these large language models, whether it's Google Gem or ChatGPT or anything, they have a text input window, and it can handle plain text or it can handle markdown. But if you start putting in things like a direct copy from basically Microsoft Office Word, sometimes it'll handle those and sometimes it won't. That's very iffy, and that continually changes even on the same model because the text behind the scenes are always making quote unquote improvements to their engine. So I'm not a tech support person for any of these large companies, so I can't tell. I know what'll actually work is either plain text or markdown. But if you upload a Word file, it may or may not work.
And it may or may not work. Okay.
And I can't help it if it doesn't.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that they get a lot for free. So hello, just copy and paste. I mean, come on. Right. Yeah.
Limitations. In that attempt to override the core logic, the gem is pre-calibrated. Pasting large external reference documents, for example, Dr. Margaret Davidson's 524-page sociological thesis, that's what he did on us back in the day.
Yeah.
Will simply flood the context with noise and will not improve the results. The conceptual framework NeuroGate needs is already embedded.
Which is the Legendarium itself, for one.
Right.
And also all of Tolkien's writings, right? Like even on fairy stories and some of the other ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the other limitation at this point, don't expect creative collaboration. NeuroGate is an analyzer, not a co-author, drafting partner, or brainstorming tool. And it will probably turn into that, but this is version 1.0.
Oh,
So, it's
cool.
like it's like Windows 1.0 compared to,
Right, right. But
to
we need
Windows
to
10.
make sure that the structure is great
Right,
before
right.
anything
Yeah, this
is
is this is
generated. Yeah.
what this is the this is like the Unity gaming engine for any game. So you need the engine first before you can do different stories of, like, Call of Duty or whatever, you know.
Okay.
uh, and this is basically how you use a launch sequence, step by step execution. Access the gem, and there's the link to it. Um, Wait for calibration. The gem will respond on a brief confirmation that the context environment is calibrated and the forge is active. At this point, the 7 foundational rulebooks, including the mythic signal scalar and the irony dampening function, are already loaded as hidden system constraints. They load in the background. Typically, you won't be able to see them. I can see them because I wrote the thing, but according to what Gemini told me, and according to the test that I did with my daughter, they won't appear as individual files unless Gemini, unless Google changes it in the background where you can see them. But it doesn't matter because you don't need to see them to make this work. Now, if somebody is actually interested and want to collaborate with me, I can release the source code to them, but they'd have to speak to me directly. I'm just not going to
Right,
put
right.
my source code out there for anyone to rip off.
Exactly. And that's why I'm like, I want it to be like where only serious people are like
Right,
looking at this, and that's why I decided not to link it in the description in YouTube.
right,
That
right,
they have to, come to us. And by the way,
right,
we're more than helpful. Like, it's
right.
like we want good, right, we want good material in the world. That's why we're doing this. And Tolkien has definitely set the benchmark. Didn't realize that this tool would work for any mythology, though. That's so cool. So
I discovered an underlying mathematical pattern that's common to all mythologies. Is basically what happened. I didn't know it was
wow.
there, but uh,
Yeah. Well, but you
uh,
know what? I guess we all knew it intuitively, because like when we hear things, we're like, our brain processes things faster than we can even consciously.
right,
And
right,
we just know it's not right. You know what I'm saying? Like we just,
right,
oh, that's not right. Like I don't know why I know that, but it's just not right.
right,
And so once you get to a thing where that, or that it's just something is off, you can't believe it anymore. Like once you get to that place, like you're like, oh, this now everything is a waste of time, because what else is going to be wrong,
right, right.
Like, and I was talking to you about that with, like, for instance, like with this, like with just the Hollywood strain of, like, horror movies or whatever, and just the gore and all of this stuff. And by the
Right,
way,
right.
I understand the artistic quality of like making like makeup look real. Like I get
Hmm.
that, like how to do that, because back in the day they didn't have computer, regeneration, or, like
Hmm.
Photoshop, or, any of these
Right.
things that could just do all of these things. They had to make their effects
Hmm.
like
Right.
really like matter, and they had like lots of little secrets that they were doing, and so that for that part, I really get it. Okay. But what I don't get is like some of the really bad stories. Okay, sorry. Some of them
Right.
were
Right.
just
Yeah.
horrible. What if blah blah blah? And I'm sitting here thinking like that would never happen. Right?
Right.
That
Yeah.
would never happen. Like that just never happens. And so when it never happens, like you can't pretend that it'll happen. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
Right.
already checked out, like you're done.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So where like with Neil Gaiman, when it's like a what if, he does realistic things that could
Hmm.
happen.
Right.
And that's the difference, is where I'm going with,
Right.
those types of things. So there's also other skilled skilled story writers that do some dancing with the other world, the paranormal, in ways that are like, oh yeah, that could happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, okay. Launch
Let's go down.
sequence. We got step-by-step execution. We
Let's go down
follow
to
these
3.
steps. Okay.
Yeah. Go down to 3. Submit your text, because I already read the wait for calibration.
Okay. All right. So submit your text and then
next.
receive intelligence output. The system will automatically apply the irony dampening function to strip away ego-driven posing, performative cynicism, and defensive irony that obscure genuine mythic intent. So that's good to know. Compute a mythic density score, and this would be on a percentage level, right?
Yeah, well, it's actually from 0 to 1, because that's how mathematics works.
Oh,
but you
I see. Okay,
so,
but like
so
in our thinking, it could be like 0% to 100%.
Like 0.88 would be 88%, for example.
Right.
So,
okay. Yeah. Okay. Very good. And deliver a verdict and actionable intel, a concise explanation. So not only do they get the percentage, it's not like they're going to say, oh, this is, 85%. It'll show why.
Yeah. It'll show where it'll show where
and the strengths
deviates, basically,
and all of the stuff. Very cool. So in interpreting the output, okay, so
I got a table there of what the scores mean.
Wow, this is so great. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and look at this 0. Okay, consumer grade Glorg.
Glorg. Glorg is actually an invented word.
This is 20% or less. Is that correct?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Glorg, it's an invented word between my daughter and I, because my daughter was really into zombie movies at one time.
Oh, that's funny.
And so it's like the zombies come out saying Glorg. It's like the zombies come out saying Glorg,
it's just crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
And meant for zombies, like right? Okay, so little or no contact with mythic patterning or ontological seriousness. Okay, very good. So imaginary fabrication would be the 20 to 50% mark.
Right.
Wow, competent storytelling that relies on standard linear narrative, but rather than mytho-historical depth. This is imaginary fabrication, a work of deliberate invention, not an extraction from deep imaginal roots. It may gesture at mythic themes without being structurally grounded in them. Okay. And that's not a bad thing.
Right.
We're just testing out the So
an example of that would be pretty much any of Stephen King's stories. I mean, he does write a good tale,
right? But they're not. They're definitely of his imagination, not grounded in the archetypal imaginal realm. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes, and that is valid. And he certainly doesn't market himself as a mythology guy. I mean, so he's like got truth in advertising there. Okay, so 50 to 80% would be the imaginal rooting detected, honors the flame imperishable, which is Tolkien's term for the divine creative spark, demonstrates structural coherence, mythic sincerity, and sense that events belong to a larger pre-existing world order rather than being assembled purely for plot convenience. Okay, so that makes sense. And then we have 80 to 100%. I love this. The metal is hot. Right. This test functions as primary mytho-historical anchor, true subcreation in Tolkien's sense, where the work could plausibly stand as a fragment of a vast, internally necessary cosmos. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, so we want to make sure that like anything that we do, like for our purposes, is like 80 and above. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Probably 85 and above if I know you, because you'll want to make sure, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the diagnostic warning here, did you talk about this earlier?
I didn't, but we do. Well, I did, but you kind of skipped over it. But it was only like like a sentence or two. That's fine.
Yeah,
This what happens is, and this is a common to all large language models. They don't read word for word. They read in an entire block. It's called tokenization. And not to be confused with J.R.R. Tolkien. This is
correct. Yeah, token,
T-O-K-E-N. Yeah,
token, not
yeah, yeah,
Tolkien.
right. And so what they do is they read in an entire block, and some characters like the fancy quotes, like the ones
Right, quote
that bend
marks.
left and right
Yeah.
and so forth, they will actually make it undercount the number of words. And the reason this warning is
Oh,
there is because it needs at least 800 words to get a valid
oh,
reading, so it can tell whether it's actual mythological content or not. If you if you give it less than 800 words, it won't be able to properly tell. But sometimes
yeah, yeah.
it'll undercount. So you have to tell it, no, there really is more than 800 words. Please rerun the
I
analysis, and
see. I
that'll do it.
see.
So that's what this
Okay,
is about.
so this is what this is. And so they're ready to forge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to discontinue this screen. I'm going to keep it up in case I need it, but for
Right.
now, we're going to remove it.
A-
And then we will see.
And if you bring up the NeuroGate,
I'm gonna bring
right,
up, so what I was having trouble with was actually accessing the material to try this with.
well,
So
if you put them
let
on your
me
desktop and then drop them in, it should be able to work.
yeah, okay. Add to stage. Oh, I guess I gotta,
Probably change to a
okay,
different
I've
tab
got
or
to
something.
remove this entirely.
Right. Okay.
Um, so present, stop screen. Okay, that's what I need to do. Okay, present, share screen. And we are going to Gemini. Okay, can you see my Gemini?
Yep.
And this is the NeuroGate link. Okay, this is the actual screen. Okay.
Now, what you should do there, in where ask Gemini, type in something like
Right.
please analyze the following upload, and then you drop one of
Please
the things.
analyze the following upload. Colon, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Or
Oh,
whatever.
shit. I
Are
pushed
you?
enter on accident. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry.
You may want to, because there's nothing there. I'm not
Oh,
sure
and
exactly.
it says welcome to the forge. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so ask Gemini. So this time I'm gonna go. So what I was doing was, because it opens in Calibri for some reason when I
Oh, well, yeah. Well, you don't actually have to open the file. All you have to do is
oh,
either you
just enter. Oh, okay. Just
well you can
go
either
ahead.
drag and drop it in, or if you go down a little bit, since I can't see the if you could just scroll down, there's a see that
Add
plus mark,
files.
that, yeah, that, and go wherever you
Okay,
saved.
create content from images and
Just
files.
click
Agree.
agree and
Okay. Oh,
upload.
and then just go to
See,
where.
see upload files there. Go down to look down to your there, that, yeah.
Okay.
Now click that,
Okay, and then go to the ones that.
and then it will
Okay.
open a chooser for you,
Documents.
which I can't see because it
Right,
won't
because
show it.
you
But
wouldn't know where I
yeah,
kept it.
yeah,
Dave
yeah.
Woosley, NeuroGate, gem documents. Okay, sample one. Okay, so we got the sample added.
Now type in please analyze the following. Please analyze this upload, and then just period after that.
And
And
then
now
this.
press, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then go down so I can see what it says.
Okay.
Now, I think this one will claim it's less than 800 words, even though it actually is.
Oh,
So
I see.
go down
I
to,
have processed. Okay. Preliminary data. Okay. Mythic are, 840 words. So there we go.
yeah. Okay, it did get it. Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Load sufficient. Okay. Okay, so I see. So the preliminary data, this is the word count. Status is load sufficient, but the irony dampening, the thing
Dampening.
that you were talking about, this says negligible at 0.05, which would
Hmm.
be 5%.
Right.
The text.
That means that it's a low irony dampening score means it reads like an actual mythology, which since this is sample one is from the Mabinogion, it is an actual mythology. So that means
Okay.
there's no modern blubber blubber in there is what a low irony dampening score means.
Oh, I see. Okay, very good. Okay, so the mythic signal scalar metrics.
Metrics.
Okay, very good. Okay, glyph
Uh,
density, which is what is the glyph?
that's the
Is that the characters?
no, that's actual mythological concepts. So it has a high
Oh,
concentration of mythological concepts,
okay.
basically.
So and it's very high, like
Right,
this, like
right.
very high. High concentration of cannot. What did I put in there? What was sample one? Because
I believe sample one was the Mabinogion, but let me check here because
well, of course it's going to have high mythic
right,
quality.
yeah,
Okay.
that's it, yeah. It's actually it's a chapter from it's not the whole thing, of course. It's a although the nice thing about Google Gemini is that it has a huge context window, so you could upload the entire book if you wanted to. But I just uploaded a chapter called "Trouble Comes Upon Dyfed," so
Oh, very
I just
good.
I just plucked one out.
Okay,
Uh,
well, and it's still picked up like, hey, this is
right,
mythological
right,
quality, and it really is because it really
right.
is.
Now,
So,
and then where it says bilateral symmetry, real mythology says something called a chiastic structure. That's where you have like it's kind of like the way Cloud Atlas is structured, where you have
yeah.
like segments leading in, and then duplicated segments leading out. So that's the way real
Mm.
mythologies are structured. You
Well,
can
yeah,
actually go
because
back.
patterns repeat. They call well, okay. I think that there was a way to say this is that events like they don't necessarily repeat, but they rhyme. In other words, there's
Exactly.
like
Yeah,
a
that's it.
coherent cycle because time is cyclical rather than linear.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it's
Okay, and so
detecting,
that's what
basically.
that's about. So it's a
Yeah,
pattern recognition of the cycles, if you will.
right.
Wow, very cool. Okay, and
And
then what is the other?
the prime residence, I found out that uh, there's a number sequence in mathematics called the Lucas sequence, and
Oh,
it's similar to the Fibonacci sequence, but it has a different start point, and the prime numbers in the Lucas sequence are called Lucas primes. And I found out that Lucas primes are a great diagnostic and mirroring. It basically does a mirroring function around the Lucas prime 29, and that that detects this chiastic structure. So that's how it works
what? I mean,
internally
and
behind the
how
scenes.
you figured that out?
Well, no, no, we may or may not want to. I'm not shy about it, so I'll mention. I'm a shaman who uses Salvia divinorum, and you get a lot of insights from that. So basically, it was my Salvia friend that told me
Wow,
about
that told you
Lu.
like, oh, that's so cool.
Well, he said, yeah. Well, I was trying to figure out a way to detect the chiastic
And you were
structures, and
using Fibonacci, but it's
yeah,
like, no,
it
no,
didn't
like
work.
use this other guy.
Yeah,
Wow.
he said, why don't you try the Lucas primes, yo? That's exactly what he said because he uses my mode of expression, my code switching. Use
Yes.
Lucas primes, yo. You know?
Yeah. Well, hey, of course they're going to speak your language. That's how
Right.
it works. Wow, that's incredible.
And then it
So,
should,
and then here we even have 62. I mean, so it's pretty high still.
right, right.
Significant
You know, chiastic
chiastic
structure.
structure. Okay, the
Right.
opening. of Thrive state is mirrored by the closing 7 winter. Okay, very cool.
And if you
So
go
now
down,
the prime, what's the prime resonance? How does that work?
that basically shows how many primes of it. What it does is it scans through the entire text that you upload. It parses it for mythological concepts, and then it details it, and then it tells how many of these mythological concepts. It counts them and determines whether the count is a Lucas prime or not. And 0.71 means that a lot of them are Lucas primes when you count them. So
Wow.
so
Wow.
that's a characteristic of a real mythology. So
wow. Okay. That's so interesting. So the final density score, so this is like the average of everything,
right,
right?
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
81. The metal is hot. I like
yeah.
that. Being that I'm a metalhead from the day. So tactical extraction and actionable intel. So then it even gives you extra, like,
Right. It tells a bit why it found what it did and how to.
wow, very interesting. So I'm just going to allow people to just see this as it is in real time here.
And see what it's doing there. It's actually focusing in on this particular myth, in this case, that Mabinogian chapter. And so
Wow.
so that's why it's giving actual words that aren't in Tolkien, but are from this mythology.
And then
that
look at these. Would you like me to? Like, going,
right.
check this out.
Yeah.
Execute a vertical descent derivation, okay, to create first age Tolkienian artifact that
Right.
echoes the holy golden sickle of this
Of
text.
this
Wow.
text.
Okay. Apply the irony dampening function to a contrasting modern grimdark text for comparison. Deep scan the prime resonance of a specific character name within this segment. Wow, those are pretty deep questions,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you want to
And the
keep going
reason
down the rabbit hole.
the reason it does that is because as a large language model, the background large language model Gemini engine is designed to, it interacts with people. So these were originally designed as chatbots. So it's offering helpful advice like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? We can continue in this vein. So that's why I didn't program that
I
in.
see.
That's just what Gemini. But as you see,
Wow.
it's focused on this specific use case. So
Yes,
it
it
asks you,
is.
well, do you want to do this? Versus
Right.
saying like, would you like to talk about the price of tea in China?
Like I was going to say, and
Yeah,
change the subject. So it's
yeah,
basically a deepening rather than a widening
right,
prompting
yeah,
of question, which makes
right.
sense. Now we're going to widen it because we're going to actually upload yet another sample. And should we be surprised by the sample, or you know what I'm
Really,
saying? Like, just to
actually,
see what's going on here?
this is a new sample that I uploaded, and
Oh,
it came out of a question that Lisa relayed to me about someone
I know what you're talking about.
asking about the age of Mithril, and I'm like, well, there is no age of Mithril, yo.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So then you made an 800 word inquiry about this.
well,
Let's see what happens. Oh my
actually,
God.
it's 1645 words, but yeah, because it's
Please analyze this file, right? Or
yeah, this
okay.
upload, yeah,
Yeah,
file
this
upload,
upload.
yeah,
That's right. Okay.
and then
And
upload
then
sample 2 there, yeah,
click.
yeah.
Okay, you guys. We don't even know what's going to, I don't know what's going to happen. Okay. So analysis.
It's spinning around there. Some things it
Yeah. It's
finds
a good
harder.
thing we have a paid account.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
It should work because I did this as a
Aha.
test. Okay,
It
there we go. Yeah.
says analysis system initialized. NeuroGate mythic density scanner. Okay, I have analyzed the submitted text Merulod, the Air Silver Isle.
Yeah.
Okay, using the NeuroGate pipeline. Okay, the scanner has evaluated structural load, symbolic persistence, and topological alignment with the Legendarium expansion protocol. Wow. Okay, so here we have the preliminary data, and it's even more words. It's 1,673 words.
Yeah.
Load sufficient.
Original world, I like it says sub-creation attempt there, which
I know. Attempt. Okay. And not a very good one at 0.42, right? Like, I mean, well, actually, I mean, I guess 40%. Okay. High penalty, it says. The scanner detected significant tonal punctures and semantic liquefaction due to the use of modern geopolitical terminologies like, is it
polities, colonization?
Oh, and colonialization.
Client king.
Wow.
Yeah, you won't read any ancient mythology and have them talking about client kings and stuff like that.
No. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's like pretty crazy. I mean, I think that it's even being very generous here then. Yeah. Low to moderate, which is the glyphic density, while mythic tokens exist, gods, in other words, so the words are there.
The words are there, but
they are diluted by high entropy glorg. Specifically, the inclusion of Dungeons and Dragons, standardized races, halfling, gnome, Azamar, which lack canonical gravity. Okay.
As I say, they aren't Tolkien and they aren't mythological.
They're not Tolkien. So, yeah, right. They're. I mean, well, we know that Tolkien definitely was an inspiration to the creators
to the term
of D&D,
halfling,
but it is not. Right. Like the way that they use that. Yeah. So bilateral symmetry is 0.18, negligible. The text follows a linear causal history, chronicle style, rather than the chiastic ring structure required for high resolution mythic coherence. So in other words, it doesn't have that integrity.
Right.
Prime resonance 2/4 poor. Key initiating motifs, merulad, so do not exhibit the periodic re-evocation at prime indices seen in stable mythic manifolds. Okay,
that is
so
to say
it's basically...
it has mythic concepts in it, but they aren't developed and linked to each other. So they're just kind of like mentioned, like, golden god, and
right,
a sword in the stone. By the way,
you can maybe just not even bother. Like, I mean, don't even throw in the glitter if it's not got the substance, right?
Right.
So export to sheet. So then final density score is 0.28, which is less than 30%. Imaginary fabrication, structural integrity failing. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Tactical extraction and actionable intel, which would just, I mean, does it just say like start over, or like,
tactical? These are military terms because I'm kind of militaristic. So that's basically it's basically giving what in the military is called a sit rep, situation report. So it's giving a sit rep on whatever you put in there, basically.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, you guys can read this for yourselves. So yeah. No bypassing the meter with just sprinkling with cool words, right?
Right. Yeah, that's not going to cut it.
That's not going to work. No bypassing the music. There you go. Yeah. Constraint violation. Oh my God. Wow. Epistemic warning. Wow. This is really cool, Dave. I gotta say. Yeah. Oh, let me see the would you like to, because boy, these really crack me up. Apply shadow remediation to the Roderick figure to strip the consumer grade tropes and align him with a first age axiomatic template.
See what now what that's talking about. For people who haven't
Can I
seen the original
redo
doc,
your mistakes, please?
yeah, that's basically what it's asking. It's like
Oh my God.
I don't know how many people listening to this watched the sci-fi series Firefly, but
Oh, that's a beautiful series.
there's a scene in it where this girl gets like cognitively enhanced, and she takes the Bible and is going through it. This is all wrong. Let me redo it for you. And basically, she rewrites it so it's logically consistent.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now there's a question. Have you ran any parts of the Bible through this program? I'm curious. And if you
Actually, I
have,
haven't. No, actually, I haven't yet. So that
we
would be
need
kind
to
of
do that because
yeah,
I have a feeling that it would rate lower than
yeah,
Tolkien.
probably, yeah,
Uh-huh. And not just because you based it on Tolkien, because you
yeah.
discovered that this is the whole mythological, there's a
It
whole
detects. I mean,
mythological field.
it would definitely detect some things that are good, like the chiastic structure and stuff like that. But as far as what it would actually, the final score would be, I have no idea. I haven't actually tried
Wow, that would be
it.
funny. Oh my gosh, I mean, I think that we should try it just because.
Yeah.
And I would do like a big junk, gigantic piece
Right.
of
Hmm.
Old Testament and then one of the New Testament because the
Oh yeah,
flavors of those are entirely different.
they really are. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So perform a vertical descent derivation for a new artifact that replaces the quote magic sword with something possessing true
True
ontological weight.
ontological weight. That is something that is Tolkien-like, but fits into the story properly. So it's not just a regular magic sword. It's something cooler. That's basically what
Yeah.
it's asking here.
Well, execute a structural audit on a different text segment to identify a higher density
Higher density
signal. Yeah,
signal.
just like meaning.
And what it's asking
Oh,
there is, as well, wherever you got this text here, would you like to put in another text from the same author to see if maybe that next
like
one is
maybe
better? That
it
yeah,
might, maybe it tests higher. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do sample 3 here. Okay, we're gonna be all surprised. Boop. Sample 3. Okay. All right.
Please,
Please
please.
analyze this upload, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're gonna submit, you guys. Oh my God. So here it goes. And by the way, this is the first time I'm trying it out at all. Okay, just you guys are catching me live. Like I
Yeah,
have
I mean,
not tested this before the video. Okay, so you guys are watching me in live time here. This is
Lisa's a busier
pretty
person
funny.
than I am, so I can get with her.
Well, it depends on because there's other things going on.
Right.
Although, I mean, yeah, and actually, I mean, there's a whole bunch of you know what it is. It's like you move one piece, and it's like relief, but then it opens up a lot of other choices.
Right.
And so
Hmm.
I've been going, wow, I wonder what to do with these choices. So I've been
Right.
definitely like looking at choices, but yeah. And part of it is, and it's Mercury retrograde and it's too early to decide. But one thing that is good for Mercury retrograde is research, any kind of word. Okay.
Right.
Remind, restructure, rewrite, redo, any kind of blah, blah, blah. Okay. Is a good activity to do during retrograde. Okay. So, yeah, me testing this out for the first time is like I was a little nervous, but I mean, Dave, I guess you got it really dialed in here. So
And
okay,
this is
so the analysis has
this
happened.
and this is from Tolkien.
This is
So
actually Tolkien
yeah,
of
yeah.
Iole and Yavanna.
There's somewhere on in chapter.
Awesome. Okay, so the preliminary data, 967 words. Yep. Irony. Negligible. Wow.
That
No
means he's
tonal punctures, modern political neurosis, or semantic liquefaction detected.
because the Silmarillion is not like
Oh,
an allegorical work, so it's pure
it
mythology.
really
So
is not.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely what it is. I mean, oh my gosh, look how high the percentage is. Holy moly. Maximum saturation of canonical primitives. Wow. These are fantastic. These tokens exhibit extreme symbolic persistence. Okay, bilateral symmetry is high. High chiastic alignment. The narrative arc movement from Aole's secret subcreation in the darkness to be hallowed awakening in the halls of stone, mirroring the symmetry repair required by the prime axiom. Wow, this is so cool. Okay, prime resonance, exceptional return to original or return to origin signal.
Signal.
The initiating motifs, which is Aule, dwarves, reappear at prime index positions with non-random frequency, reinforcing the thematic revelation of the music score, which the final density score, da-da-da-da,
Point nine four or
95%.
94%. Yeah,
The metal
but
is
yeah.
hot. The metal is hot. Iole says, I approve. Wow. So tactical extraction. Okay. So this is really awesome. The following data points have been harvested. Okay. The text is a master class of the subcreative limitation axiom. Wow. There you go. Tolkien is a master class, like on mythology. Like just study him, and you will understand all mythos. Right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's how. I mean, I wasn't exposed to other
Wow.
mythos. This was my first mythos,
This
so
was,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, and this is how you apparently this was all the stuff you knew intuitively. Oddly, I think that this is the stuff that I knew intuitively and still wouldn't be able to ever put it into language. This is
Right,
incredible. This is incredible because these are the things that, like, when you read, like, your whole body is activated, like, in,
right,
because that's what happened
exactly,
to me. That's
right.
what happened to me. And nothing, what's really incredible is that nothing since then, not even like ancient, like Buddhist readings or anything like that, nothing has had the same effect on me.
Yep, right, right.
And
Yeah, I've done
and
other readings too.
I
So.
like studying old, documents and old, like, even Western esoteric occult, like, stuff and all of the things, but nothing got to me the way that Tolkien's work did, period. Like, not even close. Like, at
Right,
that body singing level, if you will, like, where you hear all your cells singing, like, this is it. This is the grail. This is the fountain of youth, or whatever. Like,
right,
this
right.
is it,
Yeah,
right? So this is really cool. I like that. Okay, it demonstrates that non-Eru beings cannot originate true life or the flame imperishable. Aule's dwarves can only move when he thinks of them until Eru applies harmony restoration. Constraint satisfaction, the echo principle is visible in Aule's internal monologue. His impatience to teach lore is surjective mapping of the creator archetype's desire for learners, yet it is constrained by the music of the Ainur. And what I like about Aule here, and we can really understand his impatience in this case, is like, it's like giddiness, like he's like excited, like, you know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, he's not like, I'm trying to take over the world. Like, he is happy. He is so aligned in joy to work.
Yeah, and he was
And
impatient
to
because none of them.
glorify Eru Iluvatar. Like, it's not for him,
Right, and
it's
he
for
and
it's for everything.
and the reason he was impatient because he was a creative personality, and none of the Valar knew when the children would appear. They had a forevision of them, but they
Exactly.
didn't
So
know
there
when
was,
it would happen. So it
right.
was like, I can't wait forever, yo. You know.
Exactly. He's just, yeah, he has a really, but it's such a cute, like, innocent type of
Right,
impatience, where
right.
it's just like, Christmas presents,
Right, right. Yeah, 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 exactly.
It's not impatience like, I gotta get this done. Like, it's not
Right,
with a tone of anger. It's like with
right,
a tone of excitement and joy, like beyond, and he's just excited and he can't wait.
right, right,
That's the part that I really like about Iole, besides the fact that he's a workaholic.
right,
Okay.
right.
And I can resonate with his workaholic is, sometimes, and I imagine you can too. You
Yeah,
freaking
yeah,
created this, Dave.
yeah.
So I imagine that you have a sense with Iole.
Well,
Why
this
else would you
actually,
call it the Forge? I mean, come
this actually, yeah, this actually took longer than people might. I mean, I spent a number of 36-hour work days on this thing, so
well, but also that it wasn't even possible to make. I mean, I think that
right.
you spent a lot of time even before this was possible in the physical world, like in your head, you
Yeah, well,
know.
that's basically what this was.
Yeah.
It's a formalization into mathematical terms of how I think about such things. So that was very difficult to do before AI existed because it's mathematically complex and it requires a lot of calculations in the background. And to be completely honest, a lot of it is based on my own biological neural network. So you need an artificial neural network in order to even instantiate such a thing. So before AI, there wasn't. You would have to be like an ultra coder or something, which I'm not. So
Oh, yeah. Wow.
yeah,
Very interesting. So, sorry about that. I kicked over something. So, okay. So, constraint satisfaction. The echo principle is visible in Aule's internal monologue. We read that part. Okay.
right.
Okay.
The
The
sound.
soundness test. That's where we were. Okay. The moment the dwarves flinch from Aule's hammer, because I mean, yeah, you can imagine how loud and, just all
Right,
of that. Like, provides the ultimate imaginal rooting. This flinching is the inner consistency of reality, the soundness, manifesting as biological response to divine mercy. Wow. Shadow remediation, Aule's humility and his offer to destroy his work represents the successful remediation of the shadow of pride, the error that consumed Feanor. Holy moly. Bingo, right there. He was willing to just say, I'll scrap it. You know what? Because he's a workaholic, he'll do it again, right?
right, right. Yeah,
He's not doing it for his own gratification or his
exactly.
own,
Yeah,
like, I made this and I'm this and that, the other. He creates for the sheer joy of creation.
right,
And
exactly.
I think that there's a lesson in there for all of us, regardless of whether we're reading Tolkien or anything else.
Exactly.
I
Right,
think that is the cue for humanity, is to be creative for the sake of being creative and uplifted and joyful. And
right,
that is the only criteria.
right.
Okay. Loving and sharing and cooperating and all of this, like, that is the highest level of humanity. And Iole, he's not human, but he obviously really shows that, because he could have been impatient and just said, no, I'm going to awaken the dwarves anyway, like, I just want to get going. But he knew better.
Right,
that
exactly.
wasn't what was going on. Like, he had a sense of like, oh no, I don't want to upset the order of the energy.
Hmm.
I don't want to do
Right.
that. I just like creating so much that I got freaking done before everybody else. Okay, that's really what happened. um the topological invariant, the seven fathers of the dwarves, functions as a mythic primitive that warp the temporal manifold, echoing across the ages as a fixed carrying capacity for their kin. Wow.
And what that means is in Tolkien's mythos, the seven fathers of the dwarves, each one, they have a long lifespan, but they don't have quote unquote immortality like the elves do. They they die, but their dying is more like a sort of deactivation where they go into a
Yeah.
tomb, their bodies don't decay, and then some
Right. Yeah, because they don't
hundreds of years,
decay. Yeah.
and then hundreds of years later they'll wake up again and start, the second or third or however many lives they've
Wow.
had, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what
It's
that's
kind
talking
of
about.
in between elves and humans. It's so
Right.
interesting. And by the way, any of these in the program, like if you have questions of like, what the heck does this mean? You could copy and paste and then put, please explain like to a seventh grader
Exactly.
what you
Yeah.
quote, and then
Right.
it'll like further explain. So if
Right.
you don't understand what these mean, you can easily just have it explain it to you.
And that's the advantage of an AI, is it
And
because
that's the advantage of the
it
AI.
it's very complex behind the scenes, and
It's like hiring Dave and his brain.
to an extent, yeah. It
This
won't
is
do
Dave's
my
brain in a dump, like that you can access at
it,
any time. So all of you
it'll even do to some extent my code switching, where I speak, higher mathematics and then break into Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad, yo, what are we talking about? Sort of verbiage, but
that's funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so like this is another like would you like to?
Yeah,
So these are very different from the second one that
right,
we dropped in. The second one had like a can I rewrite this? And this
right.
seems like it goes, deeper or like deeper on aspects and things like that. The motif generate, so it's like, can we build on this? So this is
Right.
like it because it passes the test. So
Right.
that is so damn cool, Dave. So let me see if there's anybody that has tuned in today. So far, okay, nobody's in the StreamYard, and I'm looking in the comments, nobody's here. So, okay, well, Dave, did you want me to stay in the program a little longer, or is this a sufficient? I think it's a really good demonstration, but
Well, yeah,
I can.
we've done a demonstration. I don't know what else I can say, but
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to like see if we should pop out of
right,
the screen.
right.
So, very good. And I'm gonna, there we go. Oh, wait, sorry. There you
Oh,
are.
that's fine. Yeah,
I was trying to
it
like,
is. Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're there, but like,
Right,
why have, anyway, so
right.
we're gonna, so, okay. We have been wanting a way to test, hey, Dave, because we're always bothering you. Like I mean, I hope it's not bothering, but you know what I mean.
Right,
Hey, Dave, what does the Legendarium say about this thing? Like Dakyndre will get an idea, or I'll
right,
get an
right,
idea. And then
right,
usually you have to do that. Oh, wow, now we have a way to do this
right, right,
and not have to really bother you.
right.
Or we'll have you do it and you prompt your own, and because as we do this, we're going to be training the system and it'll get even better and better, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So now will people, if they use this gem, will they be able to keep their own, like in other words, like when they run your script, will they be able to keep your stuff, or do they have to copy and paste it and have it exported to them?
Well, the way from what I've seen, the way Google Gemini works is it keeps a record of all of its
It might be
former.
able to keep a record if you have a Gemini account. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you may have to port it and have it emailed to
Well,
you or something like that.
I'm pretty sure that insofar as I understand it, again, these are Google's rules, not mine. But it basically keeps a record of all your past conversations with it. So long as you have a Google
Oh, it keeps them. I'm
account,
talking
yeah,
about a person being able to access what they prompted before. That's what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
It should be able to
It
do
keeps
it.
a record
I
of all
think they
that. Yeah,
have to have a Google account to do
yeah,
that.
right. Yeah, if you don't have a Google
So log
account,
into Google and then
yeah,
use this script, and then
right,
you'll have a record of your
right,
own stuff.
right.
Here's the reason I'm asking that. So like, for instance, when I go in the back end of Gaia TV,
Hmm.
I have access to a custom GBT that is written by Robert Edward Grant called Architect Plus.
Hmm.
So I can go in there, and by the way, his AI is pretty freaking awesome. Okay.
Hmm.
It it's very much about like what dimension, like it's very mathematical because he does like a lot of sacred mathematics and stuff. So like
Hmm.
even the way that you type in your requests and even the way that you voice in your requests,
Hmm.
if you're using your voice, it measures everything and can tell like you're vibrating, where you're vibrating at, and how your breath work is going, and where you are, like not just in the physical body, but like in other layers of your
Right.
existence.
Right.
Like it's crazy. When I had used it to analyze my timing book that I wrote back in 2019 and said, why? And I said, it's been 7 years now. Why is this still laying dormant? Like, why haven't I been prompted to,
Hmm.
like put it out in the world? Like, what's going on, basically?
Hmm.
And it came back with, oh yeah, when you wrote it in 2019, it actually was, legitimate,
Hmm.
and it still works, but you have raised in vibration since then. And so in order to make this book up to date, you need to like multi-dimension the work, basically,
Hmm.
is like so that I write to an audience that is still like in those kinds of like if you will, this dimension, timelines, whatever you want to
Hmm.
call them, and trying to go into like having frustration by going into new timelines, and that the key is breath.
Hmm.
The breath is like the one thing that transcends all of the timelines, like that
Hmm.
if you concentrate on your breath, and this is why meditation gets you to altered states, it's because you're like doing all of the stuff. It was talking about how I need to redo, like without telling me how to cheat, okay, or something, like it's not
Hmm.
giving me the way, but it says, that you just need to redimensionalize the work, and your audience is for people who want to go in the path that you are going, and you have went there first, basically,
Hmm.
and they want to, and their job is to come to the path where you are, but they're having a little bit of like, I need to figure out the way, right? So that
Right.
is
Right.
my audience for the book. And so I was like, wow, that's really incredible. So I said, so when, like when does this happen? And it said, just your body, like allow, like it'll prompt you. Basically, it just told me you'll know the right time
Hmm.
to start rewriting, to start doing all of the stuff. And you know, I think that having a little bit of stability come in as of recent times, a little bit of
Right. Right.
stability would probably help.
Right.
Like when you're kind of focused on survival stuff, it's a little bit more difficult to go to those realms.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty interesting. So yeah, I guess Fair Faith didn't make it. I didn't hear from anybody else whether they would make it, but this is a great demonstration video for how to use the NeuroGate, and I am looking forward to any of you guys using it. So if you all you have to do is just become a free member of our Patreon, which we've got a link below. Use it in the way that Dave had recommended, like 800 words or more, and actually the more the better. Like I would
Right.
aim for
Right.
1,000 words,
Right. Hmm.
okay, or more. And test your own stories, test your own we would like to know how to do this, because maybe, as like Dave was saying, maybe one day it could be like have a co-creative, like if
Yeah.
you will,
That's
arm of this
right.
program. Like the analyzer is there, but then it may at some point help to expand
Right,
and
exactly. And
create.
also, if
So
if someone submits something and you get back what you consider an error, that what you submitted really is mythic, then if you could send me an example of what you submitted and
good idea.
what the gem said, and then I can find out what's actually going on if it is a malfunction, because I haven't had time to test this on everything. So,
Right. Very good. Dave, thank you for making time for everybody today. And even if they're not here on a Sunday morning, which is, well, I mean,
no problem.
I know here on the, like people are sleeping in or they're in church or something like that. On your end, though, like they might be doing lunch after church, right?
Right,
and shopping
yeah,
and all of the stuff that they're doing. So, yeah. So anyway, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you being here. And we'll be looking for you on Patreon, and you guys take care. Okay,
yeah.
we'll be back with more material.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.